Before we get into the video, I'd like to mention that I've recently discovered that the fish cake was a thing. And while I know it's just a reskin of the Delocos bar, I actually like the idea of chowing down on fish while on the battlefield over a bar of chocolate. So, after learning how to craft it, I went and got the game Space Chem to earn the ingredients needed, which turns out to be quite a lot of fun. And while I haven't got the appropriate achievements quite yet, I am steadily working towards it. Hello everyone, Tebrith here, and welcome to my Week 8 video on my journey to learning TF2. If you're new here, this series is about me documenting my time in this old FPS game called Team Fortress 2. And for this past week, I've been learning how to play Man vs. Machine as Heavy. The hardest part of learning Heavy for this game mode was primarily figuring out what weapons and upgrades worked and which ones didn't. But after watching several YouTube tutorials as well as some good old-fashioned trial and error, I've finally made a loadout that I'm happy with, that being the Brass Beast, the Stake, and the Warrior Spirit. For the whole Brass Beast versus stock minigun debate, I realized it came down to which is a higher priority for you. The mobility aspect allowing you to lay down fire while keeping up with the bomb, or just laying down as much firepower as possible for the oncoming horde of enemies. For me, my preferred style is to stick with the Engineer's Dispenser and keep a continuous stream of lead on the oncoming horde. If the odd giant scout manages to make their way past me, not only are they most likely low on health, but my teammates who are much more mobile than any heavy can take care of it, returning my attention to the horde that has yet to pass. Meaning, I prefer the Brass Beast here. And as for what I'll be doing 90% of the match, that's it. Hanging by my good friend Engie and be a source of damage similar to any old tower defense game. Now, the reason for why I chose the Stake and Warrior Spirit, for while I understand that the tanks are not really my job, leave them to the pyros and all that, you cannot deny that sometimes there's nothing else to do other than beat up the tanks. So I went with this tank busting combo. Eat a steak, use the speed boost to quickly catch up to the tank, and start punching. And should more robots appear mid-tank action, take care of them so that the actual tank busters won't have to worry about it. Also, since the stakes heal the same amount as the same rate as the sandwich when thrown, you're not really going to be depriving your medics from much needed support should you pick this. If they bother to acknowledge it, that is. Other than that, I've also learned some proper lessons from various videos as well as the Man vs. Machine community on proper positioning and priorities. For example, don't fire from on top of buildings, especially if you've got that penetration upgrade, and the first upgrade you should max out as Heavy is the firing speed. Stuff like that. And that's about it. Playing Heavy this past month was a lot of fun, but with another month come and gone, it's time to decide on my next class, and I do appreciate all the supportive comments giving me advice on which class I should play next. After going through all the comments, it really boiled down to either Engineer or Medic, and while the general consensus is that I should go Engineer next to learn proper locations for his buildings as well as general game sense, I'm instead going to dedicate the month of March to Medic. The reason being, since as a former Medic girlfriend myself, I already have some experience as him already, so in the interest of knocking off the rust from my old days, I decided it's time to learn what's changed, as well as how much I've improved since then. Plus, this time, I'll try to be an actual medic for the team instead of primarily pocketing whoever's in the call with me at the time. And, as per tradition, the first week will be dedicated to default medic, so syringe gun, medic gun, and bone saw. Quick shout out to Haberdasher for finding me on stream, hopping into voice call with me, and teaching me on how to actually rocket jump. It was very informative and taught me a lot, and rest assured, I've been practicing off camera, and while I'm still not good enough to actually manage to hit anyone with the meme spoon, I've grown somewhat more confident in actually jumping. One final thing to mention, so I won't have to keep saying it every month, I'm saving Spy for last. Reason being, since he needs to have a basic fundamental understanding on how all the other classes work in order to be played effectively, he'll be the final class to be played out of the 9. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful remainder of your day.